Okay, but when Silent Salt comes back and realizes that Elder Fairy is dead, how do you think he's gonna react? Oh no. Hey, it's Ali. Welcome back to my channel. I recently put up a video trying to talk about the Cookie Run Kingdom Beast Yeast episodes and trying to explain the lore. And I did get some things wrong. Okay, I can admit when I got some things wrong. And some of those were completely my fault. Like the fact that White Lily Cookie does not have an awakened form yet. The form that she got from Elder Fairy is a completely different form. It's not her awakened form. That happens when the characters go through a transformation involving their soul gems and yada yada yada. She has not gone through that yet, okay? Understandably, got that wrong. Speaking of Elder Fairy Cookie, I also got it wrong. He is dead. Oh, my Shayla. I love him so much, which means a lot because as we get into later, I'm not the only one who likes him a lot. But some things I got wrong that weren't wrong because I got them wrong, but rather wrong because with the context that we were given, we were to believe a certain thing. Does that make sense? I say all of this to say, we got a plot twist of the fucking century. So, as a little follow-up video here, let's talk about Beast Yeast episode 11, Silent Salt, and everything in between. If at any time you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe because I make videos like this all the time. I am making a video every week in October, so be on the lookout on my channel for forums about all of these different videos. Last video, I asked you guys about how you felt about Beast Yeast episode 11, and if you filled out that form, great, but if you didn't get a chance to, that's okay. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. I need to yap about this to everybody that I know. And hey, let's just jump into it. So I don't know why I wrote on this whiteboard because I'm going to be erasing it because I got new prints, baby. We got new prints. I actually printed out like most of the characters this time, so we should be fine. So let's do a little recap of Beast Yeast episode 11. So last we left off, we had White Lily Cookie saying goodbye to Pure Vanilla Cookie. She said goodbye to the OG gang as they went into the Spire of Deceit, and she went her own way to figure out where the Guardian's power, the one given to her by Elder Fae Cookie, may he rest in peace. She's trying to figure out where that power came from and how possibly that power could be used to seal the beast again. Importantly, we're gonna give her her soul gem. So at this point, White Lily believes that the witches hold the key to sealing the beast away, because as we know, the witches were the ones who sealed the beast away. So she believes that she can find some type of like new spell book or where the witches used to be or yada yada yada. Somehow, some way, she can find out their secret on how they sealed the beast and perhaps be able to do it again.
Deep below, where tears harden, turning into brilliant gems. There is no mistake. It's salt. Salt from our dough that we spill with tears, that hardens and turns into crystals.
All signs point to the domain of the Salt of Solidarity in the Land of Silence. Now, in the trailers for this, we saw a lot of cookies falling, crumbling, one would say, in a very, very barren land where it's now a ghost yard, a graveyard, if you will. And in this barren land, there are literal cookie spirits, like the spirits of cookies, roaming around, stuck forever in their suffering. The land of the crumbles, aka the land of the dead, if you will. As the saying goes, the devil's silent salt cookie swung his blade once and all went silence. Even the cookies who followed him were not spared. Now all crumbled cookies here are left to roam the land in anguish forever. Now as White Lily Cookie makes her way through the catacombs of the dead, she comes across Pastry Cookie. Now, as I stated in my last Cookie Run video, I am only covering Beast Yeast, but it's getting to a point now where the main storyline going on obviously has a lot to do with Beast Yeast, but for the most part, you can get through Beast Yeast on your own without really having to know what's going on in the main story. However, I will say with this episode, there's a lot that goes on and a lot of context that is missing, especially with Pastry Cookie. If you don't like play the main story, or if you're like me and I just got lucky, I actually like looked at all of the lore for the latest update with Doughael and stuff like that because I was so interested. And so that actually ended up being very important context to what is going on now with Pastry Cookie. So let me tell you about Pastry Cookie. Pastry Cookie is a devoted sister of the Saint Pastry Order, a religious group who worships God, their creators, the witches. The group is run by Doughael, their leader, who is MIA at the moment. And they're just a cult. It's a cult. And you may be like, Ali, you can't just call every religion a cult. No, this is like an actual literal cult. Like with cookie sacrifice and everything. And of course, if you speak out of turn or if you know the secrets of the High Order, then you will be asked to be re-educated. And of course, they don't let any outsiders in unless you are giving yourself to the pastry order. It's a cult. Now, the top brass of this order know the truth. They know that witches only made cookies to be eaten. However, for some reason that hasn't truly been explained yet, they want to keep this a secret from pretty much everybody else. Probably for the sake of like power and things like that. There's a bunch of theories that Dark Enchantress Cookie is going to take over the pastry order and yada, yada, yada. We'll have to wait and see how that goes in the main story. But just know that there's a top brass of like cookies that know the truth. And then there's like everybody else who just follows kind of blindly. If you want to know more about the last episode with Doughael and all of those cookies, I'll mention it here briefly, but if you want like a true deep dive, I highly suggest you check out this video. They make really good Cookie Run like lore videos. And yeah, just know, religious trauma ahoy. Like seriously, I'm not joking when I say there's a lot of religious trauma in this game. So Pastry Cookie is a devout follower. So much to the point where she will recite words of the Cookie Bible, the Bible, when she needs to self-soothe. And of course, this also means that she will fight and kill for the order. A good thing to mention here is that they think that all cake monsters and all cake cookies are evil. And this is one of those things that like started with this religion, but has quickly spread out to like other places. So it's kind of like a general thing that people think that like the cake cookies are and the cake monsters are evil. And the pastry order goes out of their way to kind of these people or in the name of the pastry order, right? And so Pastry Cookie was sent on a quest, a crusade, I guess you could call it, to rid the tower. What's it called? The Tower of what? The Tower of Sweet Chaos, which ends up being this like mini game thing that you can play in the game itself. But the story goes that she was sent on this mission, this crusade, to go and kind of rid this tower of evil because it belonged to the pastry order and was taken over by these cake demons, right? This is what she has been told. So she goes, and in there she meets Red Velvet Cookie and Pomegranate Cookie. So let me get out the little chart lines here. So at first, she's like, oh my God, you guys are so evil. You guys are working for, sorry, I forgot one, Dark Enchantress Cookie, who we know who has been spreading her, obviously it's not lies, but spelling her propaganda around the world of Crispia, saying that the witches are evil and that we should all be standing against them. And if you're not with me, then you're against me, yada, yada, yada. So, evil relationship. Yeah, good relationship. Right. I don't have time to get into Red Velvet Cookie and Pomegranate Cookie and their whole story. Just know that they all work for Dark Enchantress Cookie, right? And then so she's just like, oh my God, you guys work for Dark Enchantress Cookie, Pastry Cookie's like this. She's like, you guys are evil and you guys are you guys are cake monsters anyway. I'm gonna kill you. Well, specifically Red Velvet. And also the little baby cake monsters that look so adorable and so cute. Yeah, she's like, those are evil monsters that must be destroyed. So she's about to kill one when Red Velvet Cookie comes in and is like, oh, little baby. And she's just like, now that don't sound right. You guys are supposed to be evil, like pure evil, like with no emotions and unthinking monsters and animals. What do you mean you guys are cookies with feelings? So that is where her cracks start to show. At the same time, Pomegranate Cookie has this like mirror and shows, I guess, a reflection to her. And because they are near the ultimate dough, which I guess is in this tower for some reason, and she shows her, Pastry Cookie, White Lily Cookie. And it specifically shows when White Lily Cookie went to the banquet of the witches and found out the truth about witches. The truth that witches only want to eat cookies, right? And she's just like, oh my God, no way this is true. I can't believe this is true. This must be a dream. This must be a trick. Oh my God. She's freaking out. She falls into the ultimate dough. My girl right here, Pastry Cookie, falls into the ultimate dough. And they're like, uh-oh. And so as she's falling into the ultimate dough, she's reliving the memories of White Lily Cookie falling into the ultimate dough. Also, another thing I got wrong. She did fall into the ultimate dough. I said that in my video, but I said that the witches put her in the ultimate dough and then decided to bake her. No, she fell into the ultimate dough. The witches are like, who the fuck is that? And then just decided to put her into the oven to see what happens. And then out popped Dark Enchantress Cookie. So Pastry Cookie is getting a look at all of this backstory, right? And she's just like, there's no way. There's just no way. Like this is my world. This is my religion. And she is slowly starting to see it break before her. Eventually, they all break off. She goes back to the pastry order and is like, hey, so what the fuck did I just see? I saw both these cake monsters being like normal average cookies and having feelings and not being monsters. And on top of that, I saw the truth about the witches. What's up with that? And the little head person that she was talking to was just like, don't worry about it. This was a test. This was a test from God, for a test from the witches to test your strength. But also don't tell anybody about this. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So fast forward, and now here we are. These two meet each other. She is surprised because she's like, you should be dead. How are you alive? I saw you turn into Dark Enchantress Cookie. How are you alive? And she's just like, but she doesn't say this to her, so White Lily Cookie doesn't know who she is at all. She knows she's a part of the pastry order. White Lily Cookie obviously doesn't believe in God anymore. We'll get to that like interaction later, but they're just on the same type of journey here together. So they're just like, you know what, let's go on this journey together. And so they make their way deeper into the catacombs in the Land of Silence. So her and White Lily Cookie are fighting their way through all of these crumbled cookie spirits when they are surrounded and it seems like they will not find a way out. The cookie spirits are too strong for them when all of a sudden Charcoal Cookie appears, and he is the groundskeeper of these catacombs, of these ruins. His family has been here for years and years and years, his ancestors, etc., etc. So he keeps an eye on the grounds of these people. He is able to slightly banish the cookie spirits away, at least for a little bit. So he's just like, hey guys, you guys are cool and all, but like, why are you here? For now, we can give them a little and of course, White Lily says, like, I'm here to find out the truth and blah, blah, blah. And Pastry Cookie says that she's on her own little crusade. Well, actually not a crusade at this point, more of a pilgrimage here to also find out her own truth. Now, to explain that, we have to go back again to the last update that just happened with Doughael. So there were two cookies, Menthol Cookie and Seltzer Cookie. And these two cookies were also kind of like high priestess and priestesses of the Saint Pastry Order. They worked really closely with Doughael. Doughael was this like angel, like, I guess, head of religion, basically, that they were like, oh my God, he's the best. Well, actually, they're the best. They're non-binary angel figure. You're the best. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And they're just like, yes, give yourself to, I don't even know what exactly it was that they were giving themselves to. It turns out that the thing that they were sacrificing cookies for, they did sacrifice. People say that it is a like twisted version, like a religious version of the witches eating cookies. So they do cookie sacrifice, aka crumble these cookies to an unknown entity for the sake of their religion. Seltzer Cookie and Menthol Cookie find out that it's actually just an eldritch monster that they've been feeding cookies to, and they're like, oh my God, this monster, I think, gets loose or something like. So I forget the whole thing. I'll put it in post, but like basically they realize that the monster is gone. Doughael gets eaten by the monster and they're like, oh no. So they decide to leave because they're like, I think our religion has been a sham this entire time. And they work with another cookie whose name I forget. He's like a knight or something of like the government or whatever, to figure out what the heck is going on. So now these were high ranking officials. They're now gone. And so they were like, well, we need to fill this high ranking position despite everything that just happened. We need to fill this high ranking position. So they asked Pastry Cookie, hey, do you want to fill this position? She says, no, I actually want to go on like a pilgrimage myself to this the Land of Silence that is also owned by the Pastry Order, or it's a part of the Pastry Order. We are now seeing the Pastry Order might be a little bit of a sham, but we'll get to all that later. You don't think this is all important to Silent Salt, but it actually really is. So she's just like, no, I want to go to the other place, the Land of Silence, and yada, 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 and figure out the truth about the witches and yada, yada. Well, not like the truth, just she wants to go on some religious pilgrimage to, like, you know, figure out herself, you know. So that is why she is here. That's the real reason why she is here. So all three of our lovely gang are here together. These two are off. We'll put them in the corner because they're off like doing their own thing. We probably won't see them for a couple of updates. So Charcoal Cookie is leading them through the catacombs, and White Lily Cookie just turns around and asks Pastry Cookie, said, hey, so you believe in like God and the witches and stuff like that? And she's like, yeah. She's like, why do they suck? Like, why did they make us like so weak? Is it because we're just meant to be eaten? And Pastry Cookie is like about to throw fucking hands because she has already been dealing with way too much. Imagine being like a devout like a person to your God or whatever, and someone comes up to you and is like, so hey, why does your god like suck? Yeah, I would throw hands too, girl. I would throw hands too. Because as the story is going on, she's also finding out that the pastry order is sending her to these places that they say is a part of the pastry order. Turns out it really isn't, or it's kind of like a sham in that way. Her whole world is crumbling around her, and White Lily is not helping. White Lily does apologize. She's just like, oh, I was a little bit tactless about that. I'm sorry. But you know, I'm going through my own thing too. I didn't mean to insult your religion. She's just like, you know what? No, it's fine. A lot has been happening. I totally understand. You're not Dark Enchantress Cookie. I get it, you know? White Lily comes to the conclusion that this place bears the mark of the creators, but it ain't no holy forks. So at this point, they've made their way deeper and deeper and deeper. I forgot to mention, but they found like this tomb thing. They walked past it. They were like, eh. But White Lily Cookie, in realizing that like, something was up with that tomb, goes back to the tomb. Charcoal Cookie is like, hey guys, no. And White Lily Cookie's like, I'm sorry, we need to get into that tomb. And he's just like, you're gonna desecrate the graves of like hundreds of cookies over a hunch? And she's just like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And so she ends up fighting. You have to fight Charcoal Cookie and get through him. And once you get through him, she opens the tomb. Turns out there's a long staircase headed down, meaning there's more to the tomb down there. And Charcoal Cookie's like, oh, and it still wasn't great that White Lily Cookie wanted to do that over a hunch. I feel like maybe there was another way to do that. She seems very one-track minded on her way to do that. We'll talk about that later when I get into theory territory about how that could possibly come to bite her back in the butt later, just out of the pattern that we've seen with the other cookies and the ancient beasts and yada, yada, yada. But just know she's very one-track minded of like, I need to get this done. And if that means I have to fight you, then I have to fight you. So all three of them though, she's like, I'll go alone, don't worry. But the rest of them are like, hey, no, we're coming with you. And she's like, why? And then she remembers Ginger Brave's voice in her head being like, hey, don't even worry about it, White Lily Cookie. Like, we want to come because we want to come. We want to help you, you know, friendship and all that. And she's just like, man, you're right. Friendship. I don't have to do things alone. It's almost like we have a solidarity together. Oh. So as they are in the deep, darkest depths of this tomb place thing, they find out that this is the place where the Kalanomic Knights stayed. And these were the knights that were basically the, I guess, outer edge of the Salt of Solidarity. So you have the Salt of Solidarity up here, and then you have the Kalanomic Knights down here. So like, they were his knights basically, and they believed in being in solidarity with everybody. Like, everybody's on the same level. Everybody should be on the same level together. Communist king, honestly. So as they go through the depths, White Lily Cookie's soul gem starts to shine, and it ends up showing them glimpses of the past. So this is where we start to get a flashback, and finally Silent Salt comes in. At this point, he is known as the Salt of Solidarity, so that is what he will go by for now. Two things we learned that are super important. They do find a holy fork dating the Saint Pastry Order all the way back here, possibly made by one of the Kalanomic Knights. And they find a tale, a record of like things that have happened in this style of the Fairy Kingdom songs. I wonder why that is. Anyway, let's talk about the Salt of Solidarity. First, I did not print it out, but please look at this version of the Salt of Solidarity. This is his OG version. Why does he look like? Anyway, so we have the Salt of Solidarity. I'm sorry I didn't print out the Salt of Solidarity. I only printed out Silent Salt. So here you go. We have the Kalanomic Knights. So during this time, the kingdoms were in peril. Civil war in the Spice Lands. Cookies are uncontent and dying left and right from plague and other things. And the Salt of Solidarity wants to take care of everybody and believes that everybody should be on the same playing field. Again, true socialist king. So anyway, he sneaks off to go see his boyfriend, Elder Fairy Cookie. Remember him? We remember him. Yes, yes, yes. He does this often.
A cookie of few words you may be, but your silver tongue leaves me disarmed every time. I heard about your campaign in the Strongflower Ridge.
He just goes there and starts like reciting poetry with him. Like I have no doubt when they're not talking about the state of the world, the economic and political state of the world right now, when they're not doing that, I have no doubt they're like reciting poetry to one another. Like, okay, all right, sir. Now, he comes to Elder Fairy Cookie because he is worried. He is worried because the soul gems with the other virtues are not resonating together, and their kingdoms are seemingly falling into peril, and he does not know where they are. He's like, at this point, we have failed our jobs as virtues. We need to just start this whole thing over. So with the power of Elder Fairy Cookie and a little bit of power from Salt of Solidarity, he decides that they're gonna plant a tree together, their little baby tree together. Let me stop. They're gonna plant a tree, and in this, all of the virtues are gonna go in it, I guess, like of their own free will, and come out better virtues for it, like kind of like a rebirth situation, right? And so this is his plan, and this is going to take some time because it's a lot of magic, and he has to get all the virtues, and the tree is gonna go find all the virtues themselves, right? Yada yada yada, blah 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 blah. However, things are getting worse. They are progressively getting worse. All of these goons are going around and spreading selfishness instead of solidarity. They're meddling in this kingdom because the Salt of Solidarity is kind of the last bastion of hope everybody else has. He falls last. Like in the grand like story of the world, the last virtue to fall is the Salt of Solidarity, because the whole thing is that we're all in this together type thing, right? So a lot of people who believed in the Salt of Solidarity, they had a lot more hope in them than they did in the others, TLDR. Weirdly, however, all of these goons seem to have taken the throne almost as soon as all the virtues disappeared. And the world was thrown into this like self-serving chaos where it was like all cookies for themselves. And all the while, the Salt of Solidarity is like, nah, I'ma still serve my kingdom because I still love my people, even if they don't always love me. That is a failing on me. If my kingdom and my people seem to hate me or something is wrong, that is my fault and my failing as a virtue. And I hope to pass that on to other people, right? Anyway, he runs off to the fairy kingdom again. And so he's just like to the Elder Fairy Cookie, he's just like, we gotta speed this up. Use some of my power because we gotta speed this up. This can't keep going on. Things are actively getting worser. It's also gotten so bad that his creators, the witches, have completely stopped speaking to him, which implies that the witches did speak to him at some point, which is that's a whole nother can of worms we don't have time to get into. Maybe we'll get into it later. Together, they created the Yaoi spell, the beast binding spell. That is not called the beast binding spell at this moment, but it will become that later, but I forgot the name of the original spell. So just know that it will become the beast binding spell to bring all of the virtues together, like I said, to hopefully be reborn anew. And he's like, that shit needs to happen now because things are getting rough. Hey, it's October, aka my favorite month of the year. And what's a better way to celebrate than divorced exes? So many divorced exes. I'm calling this a Spam Tenna Halloween store merch drop. That's kind of a mouthful. We're working on the title. And right now in my shop, we have a new Tenna sticker, a Spamton sticker, a Tenna print, a Spam Tenna sticker sheet. And if you just want to celebrate good old Halloween, I have some unique looking ghost stickers, and I'm probably going to be making more over the course of the month. Oh, and did I mention everything is on sale? Yeah, that's right. Use code SPOOKY15 for a discount on your order. I just wanted to say thanks for the crazy summer, and also October is like Christmas to me, so I just wanted to spread that around. So go ahead and get yourself some Halloween / Spam Tenna divorced exes yaoi goodness on my website. That's dreamalleyMart.bigcartel.com. It's like that one alleyway you might have seen in a dream once. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll find your way there. Link in the description. And of course, if you join my Patreon right now, you will get an even bigger discount on top of early access to videos, forums, Discord access, and any other extra videos I decide to post on there. So go ahead and check it out. It's all linked down below. If you live internationally, I will have all of this stuff up on Etsy. And just like last time, I want to know what you're doing while watching this video. I love hearing you guys talk about making art and cleaning and doing work. I love that. So let me know what you guys are up to down in the comments below. And also don't forget that I have a new forum out about horror for kids. That's also in the description below. And yeah, back to your regularly scheduled programming. See you. So while he's over in La La Land with his boyfriend, meanwhile, the Goon Squad is making their strike. All right, they're like, wow, Elder Salt. Anyway, they're like, wow, the Salt of Solidarity seems to go for long periods of time to God knows where. So we should use that time where he's gone in order to enact our plans. Which is exactly what happens. We get to see the right hand to all of these cookies kind of do their thing, but as their virtues are gone, still kind of spreading their word, I guess. And slowly they've been like spreading dissent across all of these kingdoms. Of course, using their own like virtues, the like twisted version of these virtues to get to people. Inciting selfishness, inciting lies, inciting sloth, and all these other things, yada, yada, yada. You know the deal. You know the deal by now. See my last video. So they're using these twisted versions to kind of sow discord among the group, and specifically against the Calonomic Knights. So one thing that was like really crazy is they got the Calonomic Knights to defend a group of cookies, and these group of cookies were actually the ones stealing from the poor. So it looked like the Calonomic Knights were like defending the people who were stealing from the poor. So It's not looking good for them. So nobody likes the Kalanomic Knights anymore. So it's like slowly starting to show cracks in the foundation. And of course, they're slowly trying to be like, hey, so where's the Salt of Solidarity? And this little baby Cookie, who people are theorizing might either be Charcoal Cookie or like some other like Cookie later down the line, which like I hope so. That Cookie seemed very prominent. I know it was just like a little baby Cookie, but he seemed like very prominent, so I hope that little baby Cookie makes a comeback. So lastly, these goons, as that's all I can call them, honestly, it's just goons. They make their way into the Salt of Solidarity, I guess like compound or whatever. They make their way in and they just start slaughtering all of the cookies. They slaughter all of the knights. They slaughter all of the like regular civilian cookies. They just start going ham on everybody. And you know, the Salt of Solidarity finally shows up, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on? And he's just like, how did this happen? How did this happen? And he finds out that the civilians, his people, have basically been tricked, but also he just is like so fed up with them at this point. They were tricked, but they were like desperate, right? And they even say like, we were desperate. We didn't know what to do. Like we're desperate, man. Like we didn't know what to do. So yeah, we kind of sold out your knights, and now they're all dead. Those were basically his children. Like he's just like, so you let them kill all of my knights, basically. And he's just like, yeah, we kind of let them do that. Our bad, but like in our defense, we were hungry and sick and things were not getting better. And you're the one who left us. If we had your power and blah, 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 blah. And he's just so fed up. He's so fed up. And then of course the goon squad comes in and is like, hey, you should just stand down, give us your power, yada, yada. He's so fed up. He's just like, everybody has to go. Everybody has to go. Everybody has to go. So he kills everybody. Yeah, so that's where the whole Land of Silence thing comes in, and the whole he swung his blade and then there was silence. It's because he killed everybody. Yeah, and thus is the tale of Silent Salt Cookie. So now he actually like looks like this now, which like it is heavily implied that because I'll show you a picture of what he looks like right after he committed this atrocity when he goes back to Elder Fairy Cookie. We'll get to that in a second. The way that he looks in this moment is very close to the way that he looks now, right? The way we know him of now. But the way that he looks in that moment, it is heavily implied that it is because he has a lot of like crumbled cookies on him. Like the soot and ash that like darkened his like outfit is like cookies and jam, aka blood. Okay.
Will you greet me even now, when I'm covered in jam and cookie crumbs?
Let's be serious. Let us be so serious right now. Okay, like we don't got time for this. Man just slaughtered a bunch of cookies. He's just like, but like, would you still love me if I was a worm? Let us be serious. Let us be serious. And Elder Fairy Cookie is just like, hey, I don't love you, boo. You did just kill a bunch of people. And Silent Salt is just like, oh man, you're so right. So kill me. kill me by your hands and your hands alone. Let's just put me in the tree. I'm so done with this world. I have committed atrocities. Also in retaliation to the atrocities that were committed upon me. It still isn't great. Put me away, lock me away, kill me now. Now, as this tree that was supposed to be used to rebirth all of the virtues, the whole point was for the tree to go out and find all of the virtues. Elder Fairy Cookie says, yeah, so the virtues have been gone. Like they've just been gone. They've been abandoned their post. And that's what causes Elder Salt. Why do I keep saying that? That is what causes Silent Salt Cookie to like break. He's just like, oh, it's over. I hate all of you. You allowed yourselves, in his eyes, the virtues allowed themselves to fall into ruin, to let their kingdoms fall into ruin. They gave up on their people. And we went over this in all the last thing. And we'll talk about like a little bit of like theories going on there, because a lot of people believe that they didn't do that on purpose. It was just like, we'll get to all it later. But to Silent Salt, the virtues abandoned their posts. They let themselves become corrupted by the dark sides of their virtues or whatever. They're the reasons why all of this is happening right now. And so he breaks. He's just like, it's over. When I see them, I will kill them. You know what? Instead of this being like a rebirth spell or whatever the fuck, make it a binding spell. We all need to go in that fucking tree right now. Everybody get in the tree right now. So using the last vestiges of his powers, him and Elder Fairy Cookie have one last Hail Mary together, and they use their power to seal away all of the beasts, including himself, into the tree. Your noble intentions will never be forgotten, which is interesting because they kind of were. But Now looking back on it though, this all kind of makes sense on why Elder Fairy seems to take such a liking to White Lily Cookie. Because if you think about it in the terms of like a rebirth or reincarnation type of way, where they're just a virgin, like all of the beasts and the ancient heroes are just versions of each other. They're not necessarily like they're one and the same, right? We kept talking about that in my last video. A lot of like they're one of the same, two sides of the same coin. And so it is no fucking wonder that he has taken such a liking to White Lily Cookie. I'm all about the throuple. I'm all about this throuple right here. Anyway, so going back to the whole virtues falling purposefully into ruin thing, there's been a lot of theories that talked about the fact that maybe the virtues didn't fall into ruin on purpose. Like maybe they didn't just like give in to the dark side. Maybe it was something that they weren't supposed to really have this power. And this goes into kind of the theory of what's going to happen next. So let me finish the story here and then we can talk about theories. So here we now know that it was Elder Salt. Take a shot every time I say Elder Salt in this video. Now we know that it was Silent Salt was the one, well, technically with Elder Fairy as well, so it technically was the both of them. He was the one who sealed away the ancient beasts, not the witches. The witches are frauds. They are frauds. We already knew they were frauds. This was brought up as a very interesting thing as I was looking at theories and stuff. People were talking about the fact that like, yeah, that makes sense. The witches are, as we know, like these non-benevolent people. So why would they help the cookies, right? They see Cookie World in turmoil. Why would they help? And it's getting to a point where we have to ask, do the witches even know that Crispia exists, right? I'm genuinely asking. Maybe I missed something because, again, I'm not, like, privy to the main story. Do the witches even know that Crispia exists? If so, why haven't they done anything to, like, take it over or to help or this, that, the third? But anyway, it was a conflicting message to be like, yeah, the witches made us to be eaten, but also they also saved us from the virtues and their evil powers and yada, yada, yada. We now know that that was Silent Salt was the one who, like, sealed everybody away. So the witches were not the ones to do that. So how did the witches get that like kind of connotation? And that led to the Saint Pastry Order being formed. We still haven't found out about that. I'm sure we will find. This is the end of the episode. Basically, White Lily Cookie is like, oh my God, this is the truth. This is the real truth of the world. Even like Pastry Cookie is like, oh wow, like okay, like that's so interesting. Like again, her whole world is being shaken. And then Silent Salt comes out of nowhere and is like, this place will be your tomb. There is a deeper secret that they need to know because there's something that happened after Silent Salt's fall that like leads to where we all are now, right? Because it's like, if this was just the truth, why wouldn't people spread that truth? And there's a couple of theories on why people wouldn't just spread the truth that I almost said Elder Salt again, guys. Why Silent Salt wouldn't just why Elder Fairy wouldn't just say that Silent Salt was the one who did it, because he was like, no one's going to, like, we're going to remember you. Oh, sorry, I totally forgot. Hold on. He's fucking, anyway. But like, how do we go from no, everyone will remember, like, to all of a sudden, no one remembers, you know? So there's a little bit more there. And then also about this, how the Saint Pastry Order got founded. I feel like that's what we're going to get in episode 12 as like how the Pastry Order got founded, because somewhere along the way, we got into this thing of like, oh yeah, it's someone had to live. Somebody had to live to tell the story of the Pastry Order and make the Pastry Order and stuff like that. But if everybody died, which seemingly everyone died, then how could someone go on and be like, yeah, actually, it was the Pastry Order, it was the witches did so good, and start the Pastry Order. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see, like, what happens with that. But like, yeah, so back again to the virtues again, with the whole theory crafting. We're now in theory crafting world. A lot of people are saying that maybe the virtues just fell into ruin because they were given such an immense power that no one cookie was supposed to have. These cookies are not gods. They're not gods. They're not more special than any other type of cookie. I mean, they like might live longer and they might be immortal and yada, yada, yada. But in terms of their brains, in terms of their maturity and all this stuff, they are no mature. They are no better than your average cookie. And giving your average cookie an immense amount of power maybe wasn't supposed to happen. And so them falling into ruin is the result of giving somebody absolute power, and that corrupting them may not have necessarily been their fault. That's all, of course, just a theory for now. We'll have to wait and see, because that also might go down the route of like, will they be getting redemptions, like actual real redemptions? Somebody also said like there's a theory going around of like all of the ancient beasts got nicer over time. So we started with like the meanest one, and that would be, or the one who's the most evil, I guess, and that's That's our good boy, Shadow Milk Cookie. So Shadow Milk Cookie is the quote unquote evilist. Then we have Mystic Flower Cookie, and then we have which I would argue, maybe not, because I would argue that Burning Spice is more evil than Mystic Flower, but that's a whole nother thing for another day. Like, Mystic Flower was still at the end of the day trying to do something like nice or benevolent towards her patrons, right? Whereas like Burning Spice doesn't give a shit about anybody. But then we get to Eternal Sugar Cookie, and she really kind of just wants to merge with her thing. Like, she just wants everybody to be happy, even if that happiness comes at the cost of like your life or like whatever. So it's seemingly getting nicer. And then we have like the Salt of Solidarity, Silent Salt, who like at the end of the day, he just wanted the best for his kingdom. So that's why people are saying like, oh, things got nicer over time. But I would argue, because Burning Spice and Mystic Flower would then have to be flipped, and they aren't in the timeline. So who knows? There still might be truth to that. But I didn't really see any redeeming qualities in Burning Spice. I love Burning Spice, but I didn't see any redeeming qualities in him the way that like some others were. I think it might end if we were going to full-blown theory territory. I think with the Ancient Beasts, my perfect ending would be an ending where they all kind of merge together, where if we're going to go down the route of like rehabilitation and for the Ancient Beasts, then I would say the only way that could be done is if they all merge with their original soul gem holders. Like, they all merge together, the new ones and the old ones, and they all become like one or two like people, like maybe they're just like chained together like forever. They can't really leave the vicinity of the other, and through that they learn like rehabilitation. At least that's me, that's my theory. If we were to go down that route, that's how I think I would want it to be done. But yeah, this update was crazy. This update was insane. This update was absolutely insane. I know some people say they might have seen this plot twist coming, but either way, even if you did feel like you saw this plot twist coming, or you didn't feel like you saw this plot twist coming, either way, great plot twist. I think it worked really well with the story, and there's still so many questions that like need to be answered in the next one. Let's talk about White Lily Cookie for a second, because she kind of took a backseat towards the end here to talk about Silent Salt, though we see a lot of the same virtues that White Lily Cookie has. Like, she is very like one track down the road of like, I need to do this at any cost necessary. I need to save my friends at whatever the cost, right? And we can see her maybe possibly going down that same route that all the others had gone down at some point when, you know, they reached the climax of like losing their soul gem and yada yada yada. Notably, she does not lose her soul gem at the end of this, right? At the end of every other like chapter, usually one of the ancient heroes loses their soul gem one way or another, and they have to like come back into their own, or like one way or something along those lines. For now, she is still her own person, right? And I can kind of see a world where if we're going to do an even bigger plot twist, she kind of sides with Silent Salt in the sense that like, in order to fix everything must return to dust. I was kind of right in that sense, because I think I mentioned that in my last video about what Silent Salt could possibly be, this idea that like we just need to purge everything and start over. He might still want to do that. Like, he still might be like, nah, everybody needs to go. Everybody needs to, not just the beast, but everybody needs to go, and we just need to start over, start from zero, start from scratch. That's still a possibility, and I can see a world where White Lily Cookie would be on board with that, if that makes sense. Like, ridding the world of all the evil, but that also rids the world of all the good as well. And that's something like going down this really straight and narrow path with like no recourse to like go to the side, I think can really harm her, and that will be like her character development that she has to like get over in the next chapter. It makes sense that Silent Salt was the one who sealed the beast away, but it makes me wonder, what if the witches really didn't do anything at all? Like, did they even make the beast? Did they even make any cookies? They don't seem to have any power over Crispia specifically. Otherwise, they would have done something about them by now. Maybe some other witch made the cookies, and that witch no longer exists. We do see when White Lily Cookie goes to the banquet, she sees cookies, and these cookies don't have the same level of like cognizant like thought that everybody else does. So it makes me wonder, like, maybe the witches are trying to like remake this like world again. Like, right, they made sentient cookies, and they're like, oh my god, let's do that again, and then that didn't happen. Or maybe it was one specific witch who did it, and they can't really do that again. Who knows? It just seems really weird that the witches like aren't doing anything about Crispia. Again, I could be wrong, because there's the whole main story that I haven't really talked about, but like it seems kind of weird that the witches haven't done anything about Crispia. I don't know. So lastly, my last theory is that there is going to be a moment, I believe, where White Lily Cookie takes on her old form, the form she got from Elder Fairy Cookie, right? Silent Salt is going to see that, and is going to lose his fucking mind because he's going to realize that Elderfairy is dead, and he's gonna go after her, you know, miscommunication trope to 100, and then which will be really funny because it'll be over Elderfairy Cookie, and then Elderfairy will like astral project like Force Ghost style and talk to Silent Salt and be like, hey, no, we chill with her, and that'll get him to calm down. Yeah, I'm not joking. I do genuinely think that's what's gonna happen. And lastly, okay, serious theory time. I think the way that this will all end with Beast Yeast ending, I don't think it'll end with the beast being sealed away again. I think that's too much of a return to status quo. When you have stories like these that have big, giant stakes, returning to the original status quo is not satisfying. It's not interesting, and it leaves room for the same thing to happen again. Like, what's to stop if they seal the beast away? What's to stop like somebody from releasing the beast again? Now, they could technically do this because it is a gacha game, and I'm trying to like forget about that because the story has just been so good so far that I don't want to think that they'll pull a gacha and just make the story go on forever, never. Somebody mentioned that. We'll get to that later with you guys' mentions, but it's just like, I don't think it would be a good idea to sit here and have like the same story be told over again, especially because the beasts already like, you know, did their thing. So I don't like that, but like there is always the possibility that that could happen. But if I had it my way, I believe that the ending will actually be a different type of like, not sealing, but like either banishment or like, again, I like the idea of them merging together just for the sake of rehabilitation or like whatever, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But of course, I'm not the only one with the theory. I asked you guys in a forum, what was your theories and reactions to this episode? And I'm gonna go over some of them now. I loved it a lot. Before, I was worried about White Lily Cookie possibly going too far in the pursuit of truth and getting herself or someone else hurt again. It seems the devs were expecting that because of the scene where she breaks the door of the tomb. I like how it opens a discussion about if what she's doing is really for the best. She says she knew that there was no presence of any actual sealing magic, but did that really justify the risk of opening the tomb? I think in episode 12, we're going to see her confront her tendency to push forward even if the path she's walking is extremely dangerous. I hope even if she learns to be a bit more careful, she still keeps fighting to create a better world for Cookie kind. As for Silent Salt Cookie, it is extremely satisfying to see several theories being confirmed one after another. It was believed that he was the last to be corrupted and that he would be generally less evil than the other beasts. The beasts always seem to know about their respective ancients, so I'm assuming Silent Salt Cookie knows White Lily Cookie is Dark Enchantress Cookie in part, and I predict while he will be working against the beast, he will refuse to work with her because of it. I honestly have a lot of conflicting theories about what may happen though, because even though so much of what was theory became true in this episode, it still felt like a wild roller coaster. I loved it. Probably my favorite one, but that could be recency bias. I hope that Silent Salt can be redeemed since his soul gem is slightly green. Can't wait for episode 12. This is my theory for it. So the gang was kidnapped, probably taken to different cells. White Lily Cookie will get out and help the others, and she will try and confront Silent Salt about the past, and he will feel the pain from the past and lash out. The new Epic Cookie will distract him so the other two can get away, and White Lily Cookie will feel like she caused his supposed death, and then we will figure out about the Epic's ancestors, and then Silent Salt will catch up to them and almost kill Pastry Cookie. And before Pastry Cookie dies, she reveals that she knows what happened to White Lily and tells her that she is different from Dark Enchantress Cookie. Then White Lily Cookie awakens to protect Pastry Cookie and defeats Silent Salt, and White Lily will try to reason with Silent Salt, but he thinks he's too far gone and escapes White Lily Cookie and Pastry Cookie and leaves. I want to cry, and then I remember that someone, White Lily, will have to tell Silent Salt that his husband was killed by Shadow Milk, and then I cry again. More seriously, I adore the fact that Silent Salt, the gloomy looking, mysterious, dark, and scary one, turned out to be the last one that got corrupted. And I think the argument can be made that he wasn't really corrupted. I mean, sacrificing himself to protect all Cookie kind is by essence a selfless action done in the name of solidarity. And he was shown going to war before that, so killing the imposters may have been too much for him, but that crash out was 100% valid and he did nothing wrong. Very true. And his pre-corruption look with the same color as White Lily, his relationship with Elderfairy, the tree being their love child. Yeah, but the lore, the implications, oh, this is making me insane. The Epic Cookie spotlight, Hate being a menace and getting someone thrown off a cliff. This game was never meant for children at this point. Black Sapphire almost single-handedly planting all the seeds that lead to the Cookies turning their back on the Kalanomic Knights. Nutmeg Tiger literally drugging a warlord, and Pavlova being creepy and unsettling, Charcoal is the only normal one. Oh my god, someone get him out of here. And don't get me started on the promo clip that was such good foreshadowing. The one with the swords pointing in different directions depending on the beast, and where Shadow Milk had like 20 blaze porters pointed towards him. I really hope episode 12 will bring us answers like who got corrupted first. That has to be Shadow Milk, but I can't remember if it was ever revealed yet. How will we manage to beat the beast since White Lily has the powers of both Silent Salt, Soul Gem, and Elder Fairy Cookie? Could she seal them? But the tree was destroyed. Would Silent Salt help her? I hope he will, etc, etc. The story mode never disappoints, and I'm a bit scared that after the beast, everything will go downhill. Like, Dark Enchantress can't be the antagonist forever. We need to resolve Dark Choco and Dark Cacao plotline. Who could even be the next antagonist after the beast? The dragons? But they would never work with Dark Enchantress Cookie, and having another round of almost divine beings that we need to fight would kind of be a weak plotline and wouldn't tie up everything well into the whole ultimate cookie stuff. Are we still doing that? God, the lore is making my head hurt. The only complaint I really have is that the standard is so high in terms of quality of writing that I'm kind of scared it will go down, but we definitely have a few months before any major changes to the plotline. There's no way episode 12 managed to tie everything beast related together with a neat little bow. And I think that's very interesting to think about because, like I have to say, this is a gacha game, so they have an incentive to make the story go on forever. I hope that they don't. Like, it seems like even on the like main story side, the Dark Enchantress storyline seems to be hitting some type of climax, so I would hope that they would like kind of bring it all together and let the story end before starting a new one. I see the idea of like they've kind of reached a ceiling almost, so where do we go from here? Like, we're already talking about gods and we're talking about the creators of the cookies and all this type of stuff, so when this is over, where do we go from here? That's a good question. I wouldn't mind like a little bit of a cool down as they start to build up other stuff. Like, I feel like there's still other areas that we can talk about. It won't be as big and as grand as the witches, or maybe they won't even get to the witches in this like time. Maybe they'll get to one thing that happens to be like the next thing before you get to the witches, and so you can always do that. But like I say, it is a gacha game, so them prolonging this is an idea. I really hope they don't, but it is something that we unfortunately do have to think about. But I think they'll make good at least on tying up the bows of the Beast Yeast saga at the very least. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. OMG, OMG, OMG. I love Silent Salt so much. Genuinely my favorite cookie in the game now. I love his lore. I really hope he's able to be redeemed and maybe even meet the other ancients, as I believe that's what he means by the new virtues he was trying to create, especially pure vanilla, since he's Shadow Milk's Cookie's counterpart and he really believes in truth. Crazy episode, first of all. Major spoilers ahead. Pained me to see Silent Salt watch his friend slowly fall corrupted. Also wasn't expecting the whole rumor thing with the Kalanomic Knights, but I think they carried it out well. I was attached enough to them so it stung when they died, especially those two, you know, the ones. This one and the other one I forgot to print out. And now the elephant in the room, Elder Salt. I'm hooked. I'm very happy with their dynamic. The sillies. Ugh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Well, we're here. I was so upset, but in the way that it was intended to hurt my heart. I did notice the joke people made about how the beasts were getting nicer and nicer, but I guess it kind of came true. I wish I knew what was going to happen next. I want to hope that Silent Salt would join White Lily's side, but I feel like this worldview is corrupted by silence, so he would join forces with Dark Enchantress like every other beast, especially with her plans to get rid of the cookie world and remake it to a better, I'm paraphrasing here. Also, yes, the backstory with Silent Salt and Elder Fairy. I don't specifically ship them, but they impacted each other a lot in the story, and it was very well written. Final note, time for Salt Cookie from Oven Break to be left in the Google trenches along with Milk Cookie. No one will find them again in Google search without a beast in the way. Oh, okay. Honestly, have mixed feelings about it. On one side, I like it. The backstory was good and it was a cool idea they played with. How the beast changed the people under their domains. Cookies became more deceitful, destructive, slothful, etc. when the beast became those things. And the relationship between Silent Salt and Elder Fairy Cookie was a delightful surprise. Poor EF Cookie though, every cookie he loves leaves him. And I like seeing more of White Lily Cookie. She's my favorite ancient, so that was fun. I don't know, I think my only problem with the new episode was that the Dev Sisters put so much effort into Silent Salt, but not some of the other beasts. Like, they worked to empathize with him, and I wish they did that with more beasts like Burning Spice or Mystic Flower. Honestly, mostly Burning Spice. I don't know, there's nothing wrong with them having favorites, but damn, they really don't try to hide it. It was so utterly interesting, because damn, I had initially theorized that Silent Salt would be a parallel in an opposite sense, that maybe he did either something bad to contrary to what virtues are, or good contrary to what beasts do, like how White Lily did something Soul Gem Holder would do bad. Also thought White Lily would get judged court style. Instead, it was borderline doomed yaoi with a boatload of heartbreak. Oh word, this is very marketed to yours truly. So here's my little guess to what's next. Now I'm thinking Silent Salt is going to recognize the seal White Lily got from Elder Fae, which will make Silent Salt have to find out the one person he truly trusted during both his comrade's demise, who he trusted quite literally with his life and fate of not just himself, but his former friends. I greedily await the day I heard Silent Salt's what to complete the lovely beast pattern. I can't wait for the reveal, and there's many more ways he could interpret it. Maybe he, blinded by grief, lashes out, spirals further, thinks White Lily killed him. Maybe he's also pissed that she peered into the past of what is likely a very sensitive topic regarding his past. Heck, maybe he'll manage to understand and want to help, leaning more towards blinded by emotions before helping, but maybe he does more damage. I don't have a solid theory because there's so many branches, but it'll be fun. So yeah, those are your guys' theories. Any others that I haven't been able, I'll just like put up here for you guys to like pause and read. Overall, I do think there will be some type of miscommunication one way or the other. Some people are saying that Silent Salt might join Dark Enchantress Cookie because all the others did. I think that there is a possibility, but White Lily Cookie might also slip up, at least in the beginning of episode 12, and join, or at least be brought with this kind of like feeling of like, oh, maybe I should, just let him remake this world. Because I do agree with the whole remake the world thing. I think that will happen in some way, shape, or form, or like in terms of like, that is what Silent Salt wants to do, because he's like, we just gotta burn it all down. We just gotta burn it all down. But also, like I said, I think Elder Fairy is going to astral project and like send him and be like, hey, don't do that. And he's just gonna be like, okay, I miss my wife. They'll be together in the afterlife. Oh. I also think that the OG Cookie Gang has to show up at some point, because we saw in the end of episode 10 that a Ginger Brave Cookie was like having a nightmare, and he like woke up from a nightmare or something. So like they got to show up at some point, I feel like we are headed towards a climax of sorts with the main story. Everything that has happened so far in Beast Yeast is now directly bleeding into the main storyline with Dark Enchantress Cookie. And while I know that this is a gacha game at the end of the day, and they could just toss all the pacing away and make it go on forever, it does seem like maybe the ending of this main story is coming soon. Unless for some reason they introduce an entirely new hyper important character to prolong all of this, which they could, but it seems like they wouldn't do that for the sake of having a good story. So my fingers are crossed that they will end the story with a slam dunk and then start a new story. And so I guess we'll just have to wait and see for episode 12. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you did, you are a real one. I did not expect to be talking this long. I thought this was going to be like a 20-minute video. I'm so serious. I thought this was going to be a 20-minute video, but this is almost as long as the regular Beast Yeast video. If not longer. I'm sorry. I just had so much to say because all of the lore implications are now coming all together, and there's so much backstory that I have to give because I didn't talk about the main story all of that much. Let me know how you feel about this new episode, about Silent Salt, all of this down below. I really hope you enjoyed it. As always, you can join my Patreon if you want discounts on stickers, if you want to talk to me on the Discord, if you want any of my first reactions to things, that will be up on Patreon and also in the Discord. So anything that happens next will be there. Patreon shout out time. At the little yapper tier, we have Venti, Gray P, Adrian N, Soup, Mysterious Trumpet, Yosef, Broken Dreamy, Luna L, AC, Leela L, Reese F, Gianna M, Jester, Mal G, Vivian M, Basil Aaron. And at our average yapper tier, we have Scout, Furby Bunny, Arapaima S, Twilby, Weirdo. And at our big time yapper tier, we have Covalence and Tybee. Thank you. You can follow me on any of my social medias. Come yap at me about a whole bunch of different things. Next week will indeed be horror for kids. So if you have opinions about horror for kids, I know sometimes y'all leave me like Roblox games to check out. Leave me some Roblox like horror games to check out for the sake of this video. Put it in the form. Let me know. Thank you. And hey, I will see you in the next episode next week. Love and peace. Bye.